Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to your news edition. These are the headlines. The fourth edition of the IATF, a true political and economic success for Algeria that reflects the President of the Republic's conviction of the Algerian major role in the development of the continent. More details in this edition with the press conference of the Minister of Foreign Affairs. France is going through tough times as the French government lost the trust of its people. The Moroccans are still facing misery and poverty due to the marginalization of the Makhzen regime. And the genocide is still ongoing in Palestine. Death follows civilians even during their displacement. Welcome back. A few days after the closing of the intra-African trade fair held in our country, the Minister of State, Minister of Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf, presented the figures for this fourth edition during a press conference held on Saturday. The results are more than positive as the fair attracted many people and generated so many agreements, a result that confirms once again Algeria's place on the African and international scene. Details with Daniel Bahri.
The decision to host the fourth edition of the IATF in Algeria was a carefully considered one, rooted, as the Minister of Foreign Affairs emphasized during this press conference, in three key considerations. First, the organization of this fair in Algeria is the result of the determination of the President of the Republic to see our country assume its responsibility in contributing to the African Renaissance. Second, the organization of this continental event reflects the deep conviction of the President of the Republic, who firmly believes that development is one of the keys to security, stability, and peace in Africa. Third, this event illustrates the President of the Republic's desire to highlight the foundations of partnership between African countries in the area of trade and investment, while giving strong impetus to the process of African Renaissance. It is therefore this political will that led to the resounding success of the fourth edition of the IATF, a success that, according to the Minister of State, Minister of Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad and African Affairs, adds to the many achievements recorded by the continent thanks to its constant efforts.
الاتحاد الإفريقي مؤخرا للعضوية الكاملة والدائمة في مجموعة ال20.
The continent's efforts have enabled the achievement of considerable results, such as the African Union obtaining a full seat within the G20, which brings together the world's largest economies. The edition organized in Algeria was a resounding success, recognized by all the continental institutions associated with its organization and praised by all participants. I believe there is no success than that expressed by the figures, which confirm that the results of this edition were exceptional, with unprecedented records. The press conference was an opportunity to discuss other strategic partnerships, such as cooperation with Italy. The mega projects with the European dimension were driven by the Algerian-Italian dynamic to include countries such as Austria, Germany, and many others. The Algerian-Italian partnership is therefore strategic. Moreover, Italy is the most sincere and influential of Africa's partners, and their cooperation is based on concrete projects. Furthermore, in response to a question about reports relayed by certain media outlets that the International Court of Justice had received a complaint from the authorities in Bamako against Algeria, Ahmed Attaf denied the reports. No case has been sent to the International Court of Justice. If a case were open, the court would notify us first. I assure you, we have never received any such notice. Economic success, strategic partnerships, and diplomatic clarifications. With this assessment, Algeria confirms its place at the heart of Africa and its role on the international scene.
The Foreign Affairs Minister highlighted the key agreements and Algeria's vision of the African sovereignty and economic integration among the continent's countries. Najah Tiyar with the details.
The fourth edition of the Intra-African Trade Fair in Algeria closed with record-breaking figures, setting the stage for a new era in the continent's development. Journalists asked the Foreign Minister Ahmed Atta for details after the event, as the spotlight turned to the agreements and economic dimensions unveiled. Unexpected results have placed Africa firmly on the path from promises to implementation, laying concrete foundations for deeper integration and sovereignty. The fourth edition of the Intra-African Trade Fair achieved a record level, with partnership contracts signed for a total value of $48.3 billion. As for the share of the Algerian companies and institutions, their total value reached $23 billion. And the total number of the countries represented at the fair was 132. The scale of the contracts, the diversity of participants, and the strong political presence all point to Africa's evolution from declarations to delivery and to the establishment of practical foundations to accelerate the intra-African trade and achieve economic integration on the continent. What lies behind these figures is first that Africa has regained the initiative and no longer relies on the outstretched helping hand. Second, Africa is now trading with Africa, and Africa is now investing in Africa. Finally, Africa has realized that its future is tied to itself. Algeria thus reaffirmed its determination to steer Africa toward development and progress free from external dictates, stressing that integration and cooperation among African nations are the only path to building a strong, self-reliant continent. During the press conference, wide-ranging questions about the fair brought into focus Algeria's vision of using this event as a launchpad for consolidating African sovereignty and reinforcing decision-making independence.
Following the research and raking operation carried out by detachments of the People's National Army on the last 8th of September in the municipality of Beni Mellek in the military sector of Tipaza in the 1st military region that led to the elimination of two terrorists and the recovery of a FMK-type machine gun, a Kalashnikov, a pair of binoculars and other objects. The identification operation allowed to identify the two killed terrorists. Alawi Faisal, as known as Abu Muhsin, who joined the terrorist groups in 2019, and Jalid Rashid, as known as Khalid, who joined the terrorist groups in 2005. The two terrorists were part of a terrorist group remnants operating in the center of the country. France is currently experiencing a reality of crossroads. A new government lost confidence and street declaring its explicit rejection of a patchwork economic and social policies. Details with Daniel Bahri.
France is now more than ever stuck in a deep political crisis. The appointment of Le Cornu, meant to bring order to a shaking government, is seen by the opposition on both the right and left as nothing more than a temporary fix. The real problems go far beyond names and position, a lack of trust between the authorities and the people, and a fractured political scene that risks pushing France into a long period of institutional paralysis. It's a victory for popular mobilization, so we can't continue with policies that have been defeated by the will of the people. Paris, the city of lights, is burning under the flames of demonstrations. The scene reflects both social and political anger, with the chants in the streets signaling not just a passing protest, but an open confrontation with the government's failed policies and economic choices. The picture is grim. Unions are calling for a nationwide general strike on September 18th that could paralyze the entire country. For the CFDT, it's out of the question that workers pay the price of reducing the deficit. We made it clear that we are more motivated than ever to take to the streets, and we will succeed in making the September 18th mobilization a reality. The government has also been hit by a new setback from international markets. Fitch Ratings has lowered France's credit score, warning that political instability is shaking investor confidence. With a deficit now above 5% of GDP, the economy faces a serious risk and could explode at any time.
Palestine now, where more than 60 people were murdered on Saturday as the Zionist entity targeted several areas of the Gaza Strip. The death toll keeps increasing. According to the Palestinian authorities, 64,803 people have been murdered and 164,264 have been injured. The international mobilization keeps denouncing the genocide as thousands of people gathered in Berlin at the Brandenburg Gate, a historical place, to demand the immediate stop of weapon delivery from Germany to the Zionist entity. It was one of the biggest protests of the last months in Germany in support of the Palestinian people. In this back-to-school period, a public outrage is growing in Morocco, fueled by poverty, forced evictions, and a system seen as serving the elite over the ordinary people. Fathiya Belaliya and Najah Tayyar.
In Morocco, the start of the school year is marked by palpable tensions in the streets, where teachers and families voice their anger, denouncing administrative delays and soaring prices that exceed household means. Would the officials accept for their own children to sit on such a chair? The second-hand books are for families with low income. Now they cannot afford to buy new books for their children. We are here in front of the ministry to firmly protest against the refusal to recognize our category and to examine our demands, especially those of pedagogical managers. The ministry pays no attention to the psychological and social stability of this category, yet the pedagogical manager is at the heart of the educational system. Another image of the social injustice in Morocco is the arbitrary housing demolitions, which continue. Dozens of families are forcibly evicted every day, finding themselves overnight on the streets. They want us to abandon our homes so they can do whatever they want with them. They are real thieves of property. If they truly wanted our well-being, as they claim, they would give us housing or compensate us so we can buy or rent. It's unjust. We have never benefited from anything, neither did our parents, and yet they expect us to celebrate the World Cup. They are mocking us. I wonder if they even have a conscience. How can they sleep at night while we are homeless? But we pray to Allah morning and night that they and their children suffer the same fate. By continuing to favor the enrichment of the rentier elite at the expense of the most vulnerable, the Makhzen has made the situation for Moroccans unbearable, with anger that has been building up for far too long.
And with this we come to the end of our edition. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us. Have a good night.